All right. Hello, everyone. I'm seeing our attendees pour in. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll get us started in just a moment here. Okay. Great. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining our second iteration of STEP. Our second year of STEP. My name is Tessa. I'm our program coordinator in the Triton Transfer Hub. The other person you will see on camera here is Simon. He is one of our peer coaches in the Triton Transfer Hub. You likely got an email from me yesterday as an incoming transfer student. Congratulations on your acceptance and welcome to coming to UCSD. You've officially committed, so this is exciting. The STEP program is going to be here to support you throughout this transition this summer. We also have peer coaches who you can meet with one-on-one who are our current transfer students. I'll go through just a brief overview of what to expect during the STEP program, how to make sure you're getting all of our emails. I'm sorry if you see my little ghost dog floating in and out of my background. He's excited to help you on your transition as well. For those of you who've never been in a Zoom webinar, just want to make sure that you all know we can't see you or hear you. We won't be answering raised hands, but there is a Q&A box in the very bottom. So you can start to submit your questions there. STEP is going to be going all summer with all different topics. So today we are really hoping to answer your questions regarding IGETC and transcripts. We might not be able to answer your questions about parking or housing, but we do have recordings of all of our sessions and we're hoping to cover all of your most asked questions this summer. So we'll do our best to answer what we can, and we'll have some Q&A at the very, very end. And I'll just go ahead and make sure I introduce our STEP program a bit here. So if this is your first STEP session that you're joining us for and you haven't filled out our Qualtrics, our registration form yet, here is a QR code and we would love if you could sign up. This is to ensure that once we have some of our Connect sessions that are in person or our small sessions, that we're accommodating space for you later on this year. So this QR code will be on my last slide as well, but hopefully you're taking out your phones and scanning this if you're not already registered with us. Some things to expect without transfer talk. You'll see these lovely little puzzle pieces here to the side. And you are in transfer talks. This is how we always kick off our STEP program. Every Wednesday, 3 o'clock, same link. We won't have a session next week because it will be Juneteenth and UCSD is closed, but we will resume with financial aid the week following. These are sessions led by the experts in each area. So today we have Timothy Borsch, who's one of our directors within admissions, and we have Dean Katie Mitchell and Emily, who is an admissions officer. So we have people here who know all your answers to your questions, and we are excited to support you with our transfer talks this summer. If you are not able to make any of these, they are all recorded, chaptered out onto YouTube, and Simon is taking curious notes behind the scenes. So these will all be available to you on our STEPS recaps page, which if you're registered for the program, you'll receive ideally within 24 hours of the presentation. Today's topic is IGETC and transcripts. The way we design STEP is that we are hoping to answer questions when you have about a week or so to 2 weeks to make sure that if there's a deliverable, we're presenting on it so you have time. So we'll talk a little bit about deadlines. Know that if you're here, you're already on top of it, you're already ahead of it. So what we'll be presenting on, you have some time to get turned around and get out. Transfers Connect will be beginning later this summer. These will be sessions that will happen both virtually, or if you're a San Diego local or you'll be in town around that time, we will have those in person later this year. So it gives you a chance to drop the screen of the webinar and have a chance to interact with other students as well, and our peer coaches who are trained students who are currently transfers at UCSD and will be able to provide more context. The first few sessions of Transfers Connect will be based off of identity, and we'll have military connected. If you're somebody who takes care of children, we'll have it for a session for students with dependents. And then later in the summer, we will have in-person and virtual options for topic-based connections, like how to find mentors at UCSD, what the heck is WebBridge, and how do I log on, and how do I navigate it? So we will have some small group sessions with support led by students for that. Later on this summer, we'll also have a research and involvement talk. This is going to be completely virtual. It is led by our wonderful research and involvement coordinator in our office. And it will be talking about what are ways to be involved as a transfer at UCSD, followed by how do I build that resume to get me involved. And then there's a 3-part research series that will dive in deep about all of the different pieces. Who does research, how to connect with them, what types of emails to send. So really helpful series if this is something you're interested in getting involved in your time at UCSD. So that's what I have to share about STEP. We're so excited that so many of you are here to join us. If you're just popping into the Zoom a little bit late, this QR code will take you to the STEP registration. We have some new folks I know are joining us because we were able to send you all an email. So Simon will pop this registration link in the chat. And if you could just pull out your phone and register, this will make sure we have spots reserved for you once we have our smaller sessions connect and our research series later this summer. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and hop presentations and share our wonderful presentation here on IGETC and transcripts. So I will pass off to you, Timothy.
Great, thanks, Tessa. And as Tessa mentioned, my name is Timothy Borch. I work as Assistant Director for Transfer Student Services in the Office of Admissions, and I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the Office of Admissions. I'm also joined, as Tessa mentioned, by my colleague, one of our transfer admission advisors, Emily. So Emily is in the background, and she'll be helping to answer the questions using the Q&A feature. We're going to try to get to all your questions today, or at least as many questions as we can. That's our top priority. But before I get started, I did want to just congratulate all of you again on your admission to a very selective university. The fact that you were admitted and accepted your offer of admission here at UC San Diego really speaks to the hard work and the commitment and the resilience that you have as transfer students. And I want to just let you know that you can be and you will be successful at UC San Diego. So we're really excited to be with you on this journey. IGETC and transcripts are key topics. And so we wanted to cover these topics like we did last year early on so that you have all the information you need in order to get all the documents in. So I'm going to ask if you may please advance the slide. So this webinar is being recorded as mentioned, and so use the Q&A feature. The closed captioning is available as well. So definitely take advantage of that closed captioning as well. Next slide. So let's get started with the enrollment checklist. So here you can see, and all of you have obviously gained access to your applicant portal. Keep in mind a couple of things right now. One, UC San Diego will be communicating with you via email primarily, the Office of Admissions exclusively. So make sure you're checking your personal email and your UCSD email account regularly. The enrollment checklist is on your applicant portal. So once you accepted the offer of admission, your applicant portal changed a little bit and you gained access to this enrollment checklist. The enrollment checklist has a lot of information, but it's all critical information. So if you haven't yet, and presumably most of you have, just set aside maybe half an hour at some point and just go through it very carefully. Maybe go through it a couple of times to make sure that you understand what is actually on the checklist and what's being asked. There are a lot of different sections on the checklist where you're going to be asked to take some kind of action. Submitting your IGETC and your official transcripts, those are 2 key actions that you'll be required to take. And I know some of you have already been submitting transcripts. So this next screen actually shows you a little bit of a better picture of what that enrollment checklist looks like. Hopefully it looks familiar to all of you. It's listed in chronological order based on the different tasks that need to be looked at. So of course, June 8th has come and gone, and that was the housing deadline. And then June 15th, you can see you can continue to see July 1st is the deadline I wanted to point out there, and that's going to be the key deadline we're talking about today. July 1st, as you know, is the deadline to submit all of your official transcripts. IGETC certification, technically speaking, that deadline is July 15th. But just to keep everything organized and very consistent, we recommend if you can get that IGETC certification in by July 1st, great. If not, July 15th is good too. I do want to point out also, many of our students will be completing IGETC during the summer, and that's perfectly acceptable. In those cases, in that scenario, what you will want to do, what you'll need to do, make sure you submit your official transcript with all of your spring 2024 grades posted by the July 1st deadline. If you are going to be taking 1 or 2 courses or maybe additional courses during the summer to complete IGETC, or maybe not complete IGETC, but let's say you are going to complete IGETC, then what you would do is you would actually submit a second official transcript once those summer grades are posted. So whether that's in late August or mid-August or maybe even early September, whenever that might be, you'll send a second official transcript. So remember, that first transcript does need to be submitted by the July 1st deadline. That shows all of your spring grades posted. If you take courses over the summer, you can submit another transcript later, no problem. Again, it's very common. And then you would also submit your IGETC certification at that point if the summer courses you are taking will help to certify you for IGETC. And let me just spend just a moment talking about IGETC to make sure it's really clear what exactly IGETC is and what it is not. IGETC is an acronym for Intersegmental General Education Transfer Curriculum. IGETC for short is not an admission requirement. However, being IGETC certified comes with many benefits, and we have a special guest who will be speaking after me. Dean Katie Michael is going to talk a little bit about some of those benefits for being IGETC certified. So it's not an admission requirement. However, there are definitely benefits specifically as they apply to time to degree at UC San Diego that students should consider as they're evaluating whether or not they want to become IGETC certified. But I want to be really clear, it's not an admission requirement. Sometimes students are in a panic when they don't think they'll have IGETC finished before they actually start at UC San Diego. Not to worry, it's not an admission requirement, but if you have the time and you have the opportunity to complete it, definitely recommended. And I want to point out, continue to submit your questions in the Q&A. We're going to try to get to these questions, and there will be a Q&A section at the end where we'll try to capture some of the more common Q&A that's coming through. Again, we want to make sure that we try to address all the questions and all your good questions. They're all good questions that you have. Next slide, please. So the required documents, again, this enrollment checklist is really going to spell out what is needed and what you need to do to take action in order to get to this next step toward enrolling in the fall. So new transfer students, if we get all of their documents on time, their transcripts, again, IGETC is not a required document, but if we get the IGETC and all these other official documents, then you will register for new transfer students will register for classes in mid to late August. And so keeping aware of what's on your enrollment checklist, especially required documents, and that's what I want to spend a few moments talking about here. So this is a screenshot of what it will look like on your enrollment checklist. The required documents tab tells students what types of transcripts we require, which transcripts we're expecting, and how to send them, and what transcripts we have received. So the nice thing is it does provide all that information, instructions on how to submit transcripts and IGETC. You have a number of options. One is you can actually submit a hard copy. The community college can send it directly to us, or if you're at another four-year university, wherever you're transferring from, your college or university can send in the official transcript to UC San Diego's Office of Admissions, either hard copy, but in most cases, more and more, we are seeing electronic transmission. So you'll see all the different vendors that the Office of Admissions employs. Many of them are partners at the California community colleges and other four-year universities in California and throughout the country. And so there's always an opportunity, whether it's a hard copy or electronic copy. The nice benefit about electronic copy is it typically gets to our office quicker. But again, hard copies are fine. In fact, if you wanted to hand deliver a sealed copy, so in order to be an official transcript, it has to come either directly from your college and university to our Office of Admissions, or you would come into our office, the Triton Center, which is located in the Student Services Center on the first floor. And again, these instructions are in your applicant checklist, are on your applicant checklist in the applicant portal. You can literally drop off a hard copy as long as it's in a sealed envelope from that college. You can't get the transcript, then open it, and then say, oh, okay, I've got my transcript, and then put it in a sealed envelope and sort of seal it. It has to be sealed from that college or university. Then it's deemed official transcript. So want to be really clear about that. But again, the enrollment checklist spells out all the different options. once we get your transcript, and I saw there were a number of questions in the Q&A, great questions. So you've already submitted it, and it shows that it's been sent via Parchment or maybe some other electronic vendor, but your portal hasn't been updated yet. Not to worry. We are getting a lot of transcripts right now, so it could take a few weeks for it to actually reflect in your applicant portal, okay? Not to worry, as long as you've got receipt that it's been submitted or that it's been sent to the Office of Admissions, you're in good shape. If you don't see it in your applicant portal, maybe after the 4th of July or mid-July, then let us know. You can definitely contact the admissions office and we can double check to make sure that we have it. But in most cases, it's just a matter of, okay, the document's been sent electronically or maybe hard copy. We have to receive it, then we have to process it, and then we have to load it up to your account. And so UC San Diego is a pretty big university, so we have quite a few new students for first year and transfer, and we're doing all of this for both first year and transfer students. So we do ask for your patience, but again, maybe sometime after the 4th of July, if you don't see it on your portal and you know that it's been sent, you know that it's been submitted, send us a note in the Office of Admissions and we'd be happy to take a look at it. And this is very common every year. We always see these kinds of scenarios where students had sent it right away because you're very proactive and it doesn't reflect quite right away on your applicant portal, but it will eventually. Next slide, please. So here again is another screenshot of how you can actually send the transcripts. These are some of the vendors that we have. And again, this is just a screenshot from your applicant portal. Credential Solutions is probably the most popular. Parchment, again, is a really popular one as well. So, and then you can see the actual hard copy address if you want to send it via mail. And then there's also information about how you can walk in. If you're on campus, visiting the campus, we understand some of you might be visiting the campus this summer on a campus tour or otherwise. You're more than welcome to drop it off during business hours, which essentially Monday through Friday from 9 to 4 in our Triton Center, which is located in the Student Services Center. As Tessa mentioned, we will be closed this coming Wednesday for the Juneteenth holiday, but otherwise we are open Monday through Friday, excluding weekends and university holidays. Next slide, please. Official transcripts received. Again, we're reinforcing that the message in the applicant portal will be updated once the documents or transcripts have been received, processed, and then uploaded. And so you will see information on your applicant portal, what's outstanding and what has been received. This is just a screenshot that shows you, in this instance, this student, we have received their Miramar City and Mesa College. The San Diego Community College District in our local area is comprised of Miramar, Mason, and City College. So in this case, this student actually submitted their transcripts from each of those community colleges. You can see there's some information there about taking 10 days, business days, for the transcripts to show that they've been received. 10 business days, somewhere in that neighborhood, maybe a little bit longer, depending on when we're getting all these transcripts. Right around that July 1st deadline, we will see a big influx of documents that are coming in. So again, be patient, check in with us after that 4th of July holiday, which will be a Thursday, and then July, I think it's 7th or 8th will be the following Monday. You can see there's also information. If you have questions, you can also send an email to receipt-of-transcripts@ad.ucsd.edu. There's also a phone number as well. So lots of ways to get connected with the Office of Admissions to get your questions answered regarding documents. Next slide, please. We want to go through a couple of the IGETC examples. So again, IGETC is that curriculum, intersegmental general education transfer curriculum. Most cases, a community college, and again, the IGETC is only applicable to students who are transferring from a California community college. IGETC is not available for students who are transferring from another UC or maybe a California State University or another four-year university. So IGETC is a curriculum offered through the California community colleges. We wanted to show you some examples because you will have your official transcripts, but then also you'll want to make sure that if you are going to be IGETC certified, to request that your IGETC certification also accompanies your transcripts to the Office of Admissions. In a few cases, very few cases, full IGETC certification will actually be noted on your transcript. But in most cases, there will actually be a separate certification document, and it varies from community college to community college. There's no one set example. So we wanted to run through a couple of common examples just to let you know what it will look like. This is an example from Mira Costa Community College, which is in our local area. This is a full IGETC form for Mira Costa, and it was sent electronically. You can see the top portion of the document highlights the different IGETC curriculum areas. The key for us in the admissions office, there's a signature at the bottom, an electronic signature, but it fully, clearly illustrates this is a UC version and it's full. Now remember, IGETC is also available to the California State University system. But what we need at UC San Diego is we need your IGETC to show that it's UC, University of California, not CSU. And so when you're getting and requesting your IGETC, you may very well be certified for IGETC for CSU, but we need it to show that it's UC certified. If it's not UC certified, we cannot post it. So make sure that when you're requesting this document, that you do confirm that, yes, you are requesting the UC version of the IGETC certification. IGETC certification comes in a couple of different forms. It comes in full and partial. There's also STEM for IGETC, which is very rare, but primarily we see full, and in some cases we definitely see partial. So this is an example of Miracosta College. Next slide, please. Riverside City and Moreno Valley College. So these are colleges out in the Inland Empire. We get a lot of students from these community colleges, and you can see this is a full Riverside City, Moreno Valley College IGETC form. You can see the format is a little bit different. What's where is a little bit different. The placement is a little bit different, but it's essentially the same information. At the very top, it actually spells out who the student is. The middle of the information toward the middle is the course information. At the very bottom, it illustrates whether it's full IGETC, UC IGETC, or CSU IGETC. And it does have a signature. It's certified by somebody at the community college. Next slide, please. Here you can see another IGETC certification. This is from El Camino College. This is a full IGETC certification again. At the very bottom, you can see again, it looks a little bit different, but it's full certification versus partial certification. And they do check off the box for University of California. So again, we're just reinforcing how important that is. You don't want to just request, yeah, just send the IGETC. Make sure you're requesting a full or partial UC IGETC. Another great example here is from Santa Monica College, a major feeder college for us in the Los Angeles area. This is a partial IGETC certification for Santa Monica sent electronically. And so with a partial IGETC, will also show which area is missing. So partial IGETC, you can be missing up to 2 areas and still be partially certified for IGETC. So if you're not going to be if you're not going to be fully certified by the time you get to UC San Diego, partial IGETC certification might be an option. We would recommend that you discuss that with your community college counselors. Remember, IGETC is a California Community College curriculum program. All we do at UC is simply receive and post your IGETC certification, and then you'll work with academic advising on how that could play out with satisfying general education requirements. And Dean Michael will talk a little bit more about that in a few moments. Next slide. Los Medanos, another very popular community college you can see here. This is not an applicable IGETC certification, so it's missing the UC certified. And so this is an example of what not to send. It's definitely missing some information. And again, this might not be it's not the fault of the student necessarily. It could be a miscommunication. It could be a processing miscommunication. So making sure that you communicate very clearly what you're requesting from your community college. And of course, sometimes mishaps do happen. If we get your IGETC and it's not UC certified, or certified for UC, that is, then you will want to make sure that you have another copy sent to UC San Diego for sure. Next slide. Pasadena City College, another major feeder college for UC San Diego. This is not an IGETC certification. Does not clearly list on the top of the first page or bottom of the last page if this is a complete or partial IGETC. So again, in this case, you want to be really careful for Pasadena City College. Make sure that you're having the IGETC certification forwarded. Next slide. And with that, I'm going to actually pass it over to my colleague, Dean Katie Michael, and I will be returning for the question and answer, and I'll be in the Q&A responding to some questions.
Thanks, Timothy. Hello, everyone. My name is Katie Michael. I am the Dean of Academic Advising in Revelle College, and I hope you all are very excited to be here. There are some great questions in the chat, but I'm going to ask you to take a pause. And if your question is at all related to academic advising, I would like you to wait and not ask it until I at least share some information, because I might answer your question in the next few slides. All right, so to start with, you probably know that there are 8 undergraduate colleges here at UC San Diego and that you have been admitted into one of them, which will be your home college or home base here at UCSD. Now, this slide only shows 7 colleges because 8th college was new this past fall and they are not yet admitting transfer students. But students in any major can be in that college. So in Revelle College, we have all majors. In Muir College, they have all majors. The only difference between the colleges is our general education curriculum, or our GEs. So all colleges except Revelle College, that is why I am here today, all other colleges do accept IGETC for completion of all lower division general education or GE requirements. If you are one of the Revelle College students joining us today, hello, you will get a chance to meet me later this summer, but we actually do not take full IGETC for full completion of all of our GEs. If you are a Revelle student, you will still need to complete the full math and natural science requirements as part of Revelle College's GEs. Please note that all colleges do have an upper division requirement that IGETC will not fulfill, meaning that when you come here to UCSD, there are some classes that you will still need towards your college requirements. Next slide, please. All right, so each college has an amazing advising team that will help you to understand your overall degree picture over the next couple of months. You will not enroll until the middle of August. You do not need to meet with an advisor. You most likely will not meet with an advisor individually before you enroll. If you have any advising questions, right now I'm going to say, please be patient, because until our friends over in the admissions office can get through thousands and thousands of documents and get those all posted, we don't know what you've taken. We don't know how that transfers in, so we cannot really help you to know what to take yet. Last week, a couple of colleagues and I did a session as part of this webinar, and it is now posted, and we will put the link in the chat here, but please watch that webinar. It's about an hour, and it tells you information about what you need to know about academic advising right now. So some of the things that we will be doing in college advising over the summer is that we will be reviewing your academic background as things post. So next week, you are going to start to get some information about new Triton advising. This is an online system that we use here, and you will be asked to submit your academic background, give us some information that's going to help us throughout the summer. One of the things we really need to know is, did you finish IGETC? Do you think you finished IGETC? Did you finish partial IGETC? Do you not know? Because that's going to help us determine which course requirements you have left for your college GEs. We also make individual degree audit exceptions, and we spend a lot of time throughout the summer reviewing hundreds and hundreds of individual records and making sure that your record is updated so that you receive credit towards the GE requirements in your colleges. But we can't do that until we have all of your transcripts, all of your official test scores. So I see this in the chat a lot. We have to have your official AP scores directly from the College Board. We have to have your official IB scores directly from the IB folks. And we have to have official college transcripts from anywhere you have taken classes. And as Timothy said, we need that IGETC information. So we will be making individual degree audit exceptions as we get this information. Please know that your advisors will likely contact you at some point throughout the summer. We will be looking for this information about IGETC on your academic history. So throughout the summer, please do not worry until it's about August 10th. Check your academic history in your My Triton link, and the link is on the screen here, and I can pop this in the chat in a little bit. This is where you are going to see which courses you took and how they transfer in here. Your IGETC certification, once that is received and posted, you'll see it on your academic record. And again, this is not likely to be updated until the middle of August, so please be patient. One thing to keep in mind, because we are talking about IGETC today, is that you will have these GE requirements, but you also have major requirements and you have university requirements. IGETC does not waive the university requirements. So there are 3 university requirements that all students, regardless of major, regardless of your college, you have to complete these. The first is the entry-level writing requirement, which as a transfer student, you have all completed this. The second is the American History and Institutions requirement. So one thing to know, in the chat, I saw some questions about high school transcripts, and I can let Timothy officially answer that from an admissions perspective, but I will say from an advising perspective, if you went to high school in California and you took an American history or an American government class in high school, but you didn't take anything like that at community college, please submit your official high school transcript. And the reason for this is that university requirement of AHI can be fulfilled by a high school course. And we would need your high school transcript to officially be sent in order for that to be cleared from an advising only perspective. And then the third university requirement is our DEI, or the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion requirement. And that is a very select list of courses that are approved by a special committee here at UCSD. Most transfer students do end up needing to take the DEI course here, even if you've taken something related to DEI topics previously. And then you have major requirements, and IGETC alone will not waive your major requirements. If you did take a class as part of your IGETC completion, that class can count towards the major requirement. So for example, if you took a calculus course, and that is equal to our Math 20A calculus course here, if your major needs Math 20A, the transfer course you took as part of your IGETC would fulfill that major requirement. And then the last requirement that I want to make you aware of is the upper division units requirement. And this is a university-wide rule that says students need at least 60 units or 60 credits that are upper division. And the way that we number our courses here, an upper division course is numbered 100 through 199. Nothing from a community college will ever be upper division. So if your major, let's say it's communication, requires 48 upper division units, that's 12 classes, because most of our classes are 4 units here. So if you get 48 upper division units from your major, you need 60 total, so you need 12 more. The reason that I'm mentioning this is that transfer students very often think that when they come and they start at UCSD that they will only be taking major classes. And I just want to be upfront from the beginning that that is not the case. You'll still take GE courses, you'll still take university requirements, and you'll still take upper division units regardless of whether you have IGETC completed. And again, if you have any other questions about advising in general, please watch the webinar from last week. And I am now going to, I believe, open it up for questions.
Thank you so much. And we have so many questions pouring in. So thank you all for these wonderful questions. I have been sending Simon some hot topics in the chat, so I'm scrolling up to see those. Firstly, can we answer, Timothy, do you mind answering again? How long can you expect students to wait for their transcript to be processed from the time they've sent it?
That's a great question, Tessa, and thank you for that question. We put in the portal that it could be 10 business days, but there could be some flux with that depending on when we're getting all the documents in closer to the July 1st deadline. So I would say 2 weeks, which is 10 business days, maybe more than that, maybe 3 weeks. So if it doesn't appear you've already sent it, I would say let's wait until we get past the 4th of July holiday. And you can see here on this slide, this is ways you can get in contact with us in the admissions office. We have a contact us form, and you can also use that through your applicant portal. And there's also the phone number where you can connect with somebody 9 to 4:30. 9 to 4:30, so 9 to 4, 9 to 4:30. 4:30 is when we close, so we recommend calling before 4:30, usually at 4 o'clock, so you can connect with somebody before we actually leave, close for the day. But anyway, so yes, so we want to make sure that about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but again, after 4th of July should be a good time.
Okay, thank you so much. My next question I'm seeing on this list, we had a big influx of questions that were, oh my gosh, my train of thought is gone. that were, okay, I sent my community college transcript, but now my transcript on my side is showing that I have IGETC. Do I need to resend my transcript, pay to resend my transcript a second time with that IGETC now reflecting?
A great question again. No. If your applicant portal shows that IGETC has been received, then you don't have to worry about sending another document or a certification document. Again, in some instances, community colleges will post on the actual transcript. They'll put all the key information, full UC IGETC certification. And so if that is the case and your applicant portal reflects that, then you are definitely good to go. I do want to also address a question that Dean Michael had asked about the high school transcripts, and Dean Michael did a great job. So if you attended high school outside the US, there is no requirement that you send your high school transcript. But if you attended high school in California or the US, and you know you took a US history course in high school for a full year, or US history along with US civics and government, and you did not take a US history course or US government course at your community college or university, send that official high school transcript in so that you get credit for that AH&I, that American History and Institutions requirement in order to graduate. That will come in handy as you're getting ready to graduate. You know, we have our graduation ceremony this weekend, and we want our students, before they get to that point, to know that they have that requirement met. So definitely, if you have that, if you fall into that category, we highly recommend that.
Thank you. I went back also on some slides. We had questions of clarification for some due dates. So I am back to the enrollment checklist. So you all have the visual for that. But what I am hearing is that July 1st is the due date for transcripts. And then our due date for IGETC, AB, and IP, and IB and AP, when are those ones going to be?
Yes, that's a good question. Again, that's July. So the official deadline is July 15th for the official IB, which stands for International Baccalaureate Exams, AP, Advanced Placement Exams. And those would be if you were in high school, if you took any AP or IB exams. And you can get college credit depending on what you did and how well you did. And then the IGETC certification. But again, remember, and I know there were some questions in the chat, so I'm glad we have this opportunity to clarify. If you are going to finish your IGETC later this summer, which again is not uncommon at all, you would submit that first round of transcripts by the July 1st deadline. You're not submitting IGETC yet because you don't have IGETC. But then let's say you take 1 or 2 classes over the summer and you will be IGETC certified by end of August, early September. You can actually submit your official IGETC at that point, even though our timeline in the checklist is very clear about what the published deadline is. We know that at UC San Diego, as long as we get that official IGETC certification before the fall quarter, that we will post that to your academic history. And again, there are some benefits, as Dean Michael was talking about, for being IGETC certified. So if you have an opportunity to do that, we would encourage you to explore that as a possibility.
Thank you. I did want to rephrase my question as well. So if a student has submitted their transcript and it doesn't say IGETC on it, but they've completed classes and now their community college says it afterwards, would they need to send a second document or resend that transcript to the admissions portal?
I'm glad you asked that question, Tessa. So as I understand the question, it's the student has already submitted a transcript with their spring grades posted.
Mm-hmm.
And then later it was determined that they were IGETC certified?
Correct.
Yes, absolutely. So they can, once it's been determined that they've been IGETC certified, they can get that IGETC certification sent to UC San Diego. Again, because the deadline says it's July 15th, if we get that IGETC certification before the fall quarter, that's still going to get posted to their academic history.
And they could do that by resubmitting the transcript once again.
Well, if we have the transcript, we wouldn't need another copy of the transcript if there's no new information. So in other words, if there are no additional courses that were taken over the summer and the IGETC certification is a separate document, then they don't need to resubmit the transcript. However, if IGETC certification is going to show up on their transcript, again, remember, there is a difference between an official transcript, which is really a record of all the courses the student has taken, their grades, their courses, when they took them, etc. Their IGETC certification is that document that shows that they've satisfied that curriculum of IGETC. And so in most cases, they are separate documents, but in some cases, it is one and the same.
Okay.
So if it does show up on the official transcript, then we don't need a separate document. But if it doesn't, then we would definitely want to see a separate document. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. We got a couple questions on that. We have a couple folks who have interest in taking summer classes at UCSD. However, they're not reflecting at the right course level. Katie, is this a good question for you to tackle?
Yeah, thank you, Tessa. I'm seeing a couple things about summer. If you want to take classes at your home community college in the summer, generally that is okay. If you want to jump into classes here at UCSD in the summer, generally that is also okay. I understand that you probably have no idea what to register for or how that works, and let me see if I can shed some light on that. So, next week, you are going to be able to send messages to your advisors via New Triton Advising and what we call the Virtual Advising Center. So there are folks behind the scenes that as soon as we see your records, we'll be able to respond. In the meantime, we are likely to ask you for unofficial transcripts if you're trying to take something in a sequence. So let's say you've taken Calculus 1, you need to take Calculus 2 for your major. We wouldn't necessarily know that you've completed Calculus 1 because we can't see your transcript yet, so we are likely to ask you to send that unofficial transcript while we're waiting for our admissions friends to officially post your info. But if you are interested in summer, you're going to need to reach out to your advisors starting next week through, again, New Triton Advising on the Virtual Advising Center. I can speak in generalities in terms of the process. We have a 5-week summer session 1 and then a 5-week summer session 2. But if you are specifically interested in classes over the summer, definitely a possibility, but we would want to get you connected with your major advisors and your college advisors, depending what you would want to take and why. Now, if you are trying to finish your IGETC, so let's say you have finished every area except one, you would come in with partial IGETC in the fall, but if you want to take a class in the summer at your community college to finish IGETC, we encourage you to do that because it really is advantageous if you've finished IGETC. So you would work with your home community college to figure out what to enroll in order to complete IGETC. If you have other questions about summer, I am also happy to help, but I will probably refer you again to check out New Triton Advising starting next week and just contact your advisors directly.
Thank you. Do you want to give a brief summary, Katie, about how interaction goes with advisors through the VAC this summer? I feel like folks are getting a little confused there.
Sure. Yeah. So we tackled this last week in the webinar if you want much more information, but essentially for the from June 17th, which is when it opens next week, you're going to start to get emails from your colleges and especially from your college orientation folks. And we're going to tell you complete New Triton Advising. We're going to ask you for some information. What's your placement information? What's your background? What types of transcripts and test scores are we expecting? As soon as you complete that academic background, which should take less than an hour, then you'll be able to send messages through the VAC, the Virtual Advising Center. We do not use email at UCSD for advising. We only use the VAC. And part of that is that your college advisors and your department advisors, because you'll have 2 sets of advisors, that way we can all see what you're being advised on. So for example, if you are a Warren College student, your Warren College advisors will be helping you. You may also have advisors in computer science. And so your computer science advisors will be answering anything about your specific major requirements. So if you need to know anything about advising on campus, just remember VAC, VAC, this is how you'll communicate with advisors because again, you are not likely to meet individually with advisors before you start to enroll in the middle of August. Does that help, Tessa?
That does help. And I'm going to repeat out loud what I hear you saying for folks as well. So I have communication with an advisor. It's just not going to be in a face-to-face appointment. It's going to be happening almost in an email format within the VAC, but someone's hearing me and responding and they're typing messages directly to me.
100%. We are not a robot. We are not AI. Anything you send through the VAC is an actual person. They're there looking at your record, helping you individually. And there are some units that will do drop-in advising throughout the summer. There are also some departments that will actually do remote appointments with students throughout the summer. Within the colleges, we all do webinars before you enroll. So we aren't just going to throw you to the wolves and expect you to figure this out and know what to enroll in August. So please continue to check your email, check the information in New Triton Advising, because as your record is being posted throughout the summer and updated, and we're looking to see what you're bringing in, we're working frantically behind the scenes to try to better help you and prepare you. So just be patient with us, but you will definitely hear from advisors throughout the summer.
Thank you. Simon, as you've been looking through questions too, are there things that I'm leaving out, or Timothy or Katie, were there things that you wanted to address based off of things you've seen pouring in as well?
There is a question, and it may apply to more than just one student, but we know that some of this, two questions actually. One is, if you're attending De Anza, Foothill, or Lake Tahoe community colleges, those are on the quarter system. We know that their grades, their spring grades, may not be posted in time for you to get the transcript to us by July 1st. Not to worry. We know, we are expecting that. We know Foothill, De Anza, and Lake Tahoe are on a quarter system. Just get those transcripts sent as soon as the spring grades are posted. That would be great. The other question is that I know there are some questions about students who are sharing that they've received maybe a D in a required course or a D in a transfer major preparation course, which is a required course, or an English composition course, or one of the courses. So what happens is, if a student does not satisfy their contract for admission, their provisions for admission as it's outlined in their applicant portal, then their admission is actually subject to review and possibly cancellation. Now, we want to be really upfront and transparent with students. Students are essentially held to those provisions. So when you were offered admission, it will state what those provisions are very clearly on your applicant portal. So if you fall short of those provisions, there would be an opportunity to submit an appeal later this summer after we've received and reviewed all the transcripts, but not before that. It is recommended if, let's say you got a D, let's say you're a biology major and you got a D in Calculus 2 in the spring, just a random scenario example. It is recommended to take that Calculus 2 course this summer to demonstrate that you are working toward completing that major course. But again, Calculus 2 is required to be completed by the end of the spring term of 2024 for a biology major. Therefore, the student's admission is subject, not guaranteed, but subject to cancellation. Taking that summer course certainly demonstrates that a student is working toward meeting that requirement. Doesn't guarantee that there won't be canceled, but it certainly will go a long way toward helping support the student. So I just wanted to throw that out there as a scenario, possible scenario.
Thank you so much. That's much appreciated. Katie, were there other questions you saw, or Simon, that you felt we should address as well?
I see a couple of Revell students asking, why do I need IGETC? So I want to speak to that really quickly. If you do have IGETC and you are a Revell student, it is still advantageous. So this certain sequence of courses you take with IGETC will still satisfy all of our humanities courses, our fine arts, our social sciences, and our language requirement. And within IGETC, you have taken at least one math class and at least 2 science classes. Those classes do still apply towards our math and our science requirement. It's just that our math requirement is 3 total math courses and 4 total science classes. So if you haven't taken all of those and you're a Revell student, then you would still need to complete that full requirement. There were a couple of questions I saw about, oh no, I don't think I have IGETC. If you do not have IGETC, or if you do not have partial IGETC when you're coming in, your admit type would be considered a general transfer student. And what we do in advising is we look individually at your record class by class to see how we can line up what you have taken with our general education courses. So if you are an out-of-state transfer student or a transfer student from a 4-year institution and you don't have IGETC, or if you went to a community college in California and you just didn't finish the IGETC sequence, you are not at a terrible spot. We will still take everything that you've brought in for transfer credit and apply it as we can, and each college does that individually. So if you have questions, again, starting next week, I would give it a little bit of time for that question because your advisors will need to see your coursework officially posted on your transcript before we can answer those questions for sure. But don't panic if you end up not having IGETC.
All right, and then for our students who had said they were going to take a class, but they maybe didn't get off the wait list or they failed that class in the spring, where should those communications take place with the university?
That's a good question. And so there is no formal mechanism. They can always contact our office, but we will know when we get the official transcript that shows the spring grades posted. The Office of Admissions will know exactly what the student has completed and what they have not completed. They are welcome to send us a message with that information, but it's not required, because what we do is we wait until we get the official transcripts to make any determination. So, Tessa, to answer that good question, we would recommend that students, they don't have to contact us. In fact, it won't go towards speeding up the process at all. We still have to review the official transcript to determine what might be missing from the student. So we would say just let's wait until a little bit later this summer when we reviewed and looked at all the transcripts. And students will be notified at some point if they fall short of their admission. They'll receive communication, and they'll also be alerted as to what the next steps are, whether that's having an opportunity to submit an appeal or perhaps requesting to take a course at some point, these kinds of things.
And if they're already completing that class over summer, do they need to let admissions know, or would they at that point say, hey, I actually completed this summer, when they get that email there? What's best communication there?
That's correct. So if their admission in fact is canceled, they would have an opportunity to share with us that they are in fact either taking it or have finished that course, and then they would have an opportunity to send an updated official transcript to reflect that.
Thank you. I'm scrolling through here. I think that covered the majority of our big questions. There's still a few questions here that we can go through that are a little bit more individual. But I think for our big major themes, we've hit them all. We can keep the Zoom open for folks to just go back through and answer some of these questions individually, but we will have this recording up ideally within the next 24 hours up to our website. And if you are registered for the STEP program, this will be emailed directly to you with our note sheet as well from the Triton Transfers email. If this is your first time joining us and you haven't registered for the program already, that's not just happening by joining the Zoom. I will go ahead and share my screen once more to give you that QR code, and we will look forward to seeing you not next week, but the following week for all things financial aid. And that's going to be a great presentation as well. So here comes the QR code. And we will continue to answer a few of these questions in the chat. And oh, awesome. I see some questions actively being answered, so I will just go ahead and hang out here. Thanks for letting us know what's helpful. We hope that they are helpful throughout the whole summer. We appreciate you joining us. can still see some folks getting questions answered here. Ooh, a good question just came in. Where do folks find their PIDs? I don't know.
That is a good question. The PID number is a key number that you'll want to become familiar with. It begins with A as in the letter apple. It's right front and center on your applicant portal. So you don't have to memorize it, but we definitely recommend having it at the ready in case it's needed. But it is right there on the applicant portal under applicant information tab.
Thank you. And that's something you'll end up memorizing probably in your first 2 weeks of school once you begin. All right. I still see some questions getting answered, so I will go ahead and keep us open for the next few minutes. I'll go ahead and stop recording so folks don't have to see us just sit in.